That bowl game is going to be on December 29th, and we have plenty of time to talk about this game. A lot of changes for the Orange, losing both their offensive and defensive coordinator. But let's look from an analytics perspective at the matchup against Minnesota and use one of the most important and predictive metrics in football, expected points added, or EPA. Now, before I get into all this, let's actually break down that stat. So expected points calculates, on average, how many points a team is expected to score based on a number of factors, like down, distance, time remaining, and their field position to determine the probability of scoring. And you might see this and think to yourself, well, as teams get closer to the end zone, their chances of scoring goes up. That's pretty intuitive. Why not just use yards? Well, not all yards are created equally. A 5-yard gain on 3rd and 3 is much more important than a 5-yard gain on 3rd and 10. Yards themselves, they don't know the difference, but EPA accounts for that, and it tells you which yards matter more than others. So when you're looking at this game, you can see that Minnesota, the numbers themselves don't exactly matter here, rather the advantage that Minnesota has over the Orange in almost every single category. Their rushing EPA is incredibly efficient and at a high volume. They're top 10 in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. Passing the ball through the air, they're really, really efficient, even though they're 115th in the NCAA in total passing yards. So when you're looking at this game, they might not throw the ball as much, but they'll make the throws that matter when they need to. The way that the Orange can exploit Minnesota's defense is through the air. You can see on the ground, their rushing EPA is incredibly efficient. You actually want a lower number on the defensive side of the ball, and you want a higher number on the offensive side of the ball. So rushing defense for the Minnesota Gophers is incredibly efficient at stopping opposing teams, but Garrett Schrader needs to be a game manager, and he needs to find Arondé Gadsden on those post routes if SU wants to have a chance on those big play opportunities. And with that, I'll send it back to you, Nick.